Simonishasan Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Om Guru Vajradhara Suma Simonishasaneka Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Pakyuke Kodan Dagi Lo Pakyuke Sondan Dagi Pakyuke Todan Dagi Tenyerme Chikto Jingi Makyuke Kodan Dagi Lo Makyuke Sondan Dagi Todan Dagi Tenyerme Chikto Jingi Angel Chedan Sogi Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kapso Chin Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Gi Drola Pinchre Sange Druparish Sange Chedan Sogi Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kapso Chin Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Gi Drola Pinchre Sange Druparish Sange Chedan Sogi Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kap Dagi Jinso Gibe Drola Pinchre Sange Druparish. In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment through the practice of generosity and the other perfection. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So, today we'll continue with the part of short explanation and practice on self-healing. So we have reached the part of the 6 syllables, and we are inside the part which is called the generation stage, in which we generate ourselves in a pure form, and then we develop our own qualities to their maximum potential, representing by the development of the qualities in each one of our chakras. Okay? But before we actually start with the explanation of the 6 syllables, I would like just for us to do the practice until this point. So we do the practice until the end of the generation of the lotus, which is what we have explained yesterday. And then we stop there, and then we give the explanation, and then we do the 6 syllables. And then before the session, we conclude the practice of self-healing together. Okay? So we would not make it without many explanations. Yesterday we already explained everything. So we just do the practice with 5 mantras in each chakra. So we start first, we will do the part when we request the blessings of the lineage. Then we do the part of Guru Yoga. Then there is relative purification of the elements, absolute purification with emptiness. Then there is the 3 transformations. Then we generate ourselves as the deity. Then there is the lotus at every chakra. And then we will stop at that point. Then we will continue after with the 6 syllables and so on. Okay. We just follow the sound of the bell to bring our attention back to our heart. front of us is Guru Buddha, with the appearance as our Guru, inseparable of all Buddhas, and his 5 chakras are the 5 Jnani Buddhas. To request his blessing, and then the blessings of all the lineage. Let light and nectar from his chakras absorb into our own chakras, purifying our negativities, revitalizing our qualities, blessing our body, speech, mind, quality, and action. Mucho sampo pagyu trashi patu che tempe trinleyar campete parce palde la me shabla solvade Oma Guru Vajradara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Utavardanye Shri Bhadra Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Hum Hum Oma Guru Vajradara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Utavardanye Shri Bhadra Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Hum Hum Oma Guru Vajradara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Utavardanye Shri Bhadra Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Hum Hum Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum purifies space at our crown chakra, giving the possibility for the other elements to purify. The wind is purified at our sacred chakra. As it enters the central channel, it purifies fire at the navel. The fire grows, red in color, and it heats and purifies the earth at our heart. The heat of the earth moves upward as it heats the water at our throat, purifying it. The water evaporates, going to our crown, where it condenses and comes to the whole of our body as a rain of nectar, bringing the whole body to a state of great bliss. We experience great bliss in the body and in the mind, purifying the body and the mind. Bam, ho shuddhe Ba Moshudesh. Oh, Eya Ram Lam Bam. 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 Shodeshu Desoha. Shodeshu Desoha. Shodeshu Desoha. Shodeshu Desoha. Shodeshu Soha. Omaya Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddha. All phenomena are empty of inherent existence, and so am I. Even though reality, even though our own self appear as being of inherent existence, objectively existent, in reality, it lacks such existence because it is interdependent. As we breathe in and we breathe, the whole universe dissolves into light. Cities, the forests, the hills, the ocean, everything around us dissolves into light. All the beings living within it, everything dissolves into light. The place where we are, in the direction of ourselves, dissolves into light. Forms, the sounds, the smells, the touch, everything around us dissolves into light. Our own body, in the direction of the heart, dissolves into light. Our mind, conceptual growth mind, with its thoughts, memories, expectations, ideas, completely dissolves into light. As we inhale and nothing more than the appearance of an infinite emptiness full of light. Infinite space, clean and clear, within which there is no here or there is no this or that, there is no me or you. There is just infinite space, clean and clear with light. Such infinite emptiness that is by itself empty of inherent existence. It exists as an infinite emptiness in an interdependent way. Wherever there is light, wherever there is emptiness, there is great bliss. Wherever there is bliss, there is emptiness. And I am, we are, the non-dual union of great bliss and emptiness. The deep state of great bliss that realizes one's own true nature as being empty of inherent existence, and that perceives nothing more than the infinite emptiness full of light. As we inhale, and we deeply relax within the state of the union of great bliss and emptiness, state within which there is no here or there, there is no past and present, there is no present and future. There is only nothing more but an infinite space full of light, inseparable of great bliss. And I am this non-dual union of great bliss and emptiness. And from within the state of great bliss and emptiness, for the benefit of all sentient beings, we manifest ourselves in a more gross way in order to interact and benefit others. From within the state of great bliss and emptiness appears the universe once again. We appear as a beam of light, radiant blue light, that vibrates with the sound of Om. We manifest ourselves in a subtle form. From ourselves, as a beam of light that vibrates with the sound of Om, light emanates in the 10 directions, going to all holy beings, making offerings to each and every one of them, and reabsorbing back into ourselves. Once again, we emanate light and nectar from ourselves as a beam of light that vibrates with the sound of hum, a blue beam of light. And the light and nectar that emanates from ourselves goes to every sentient being, bringing them joy, interacting with them in a way that they get free from their own suffering. The light and nectar reabsorb back into us as we inhale and by the conditions of emanating and reabsorbing back the light, bringing to us all the blessings of all Buddhas, we generate the intention to generate ourselves in a more gross way in order to be able to interact with sentient beings directly. From within the state of great bliss and emptiness, in the appearance of the blue beam of light with the sound of hum, in an instant, we appear with a gross body, with one face, 2 arms, 2 legs. We have a body of light, beautiful body that glows with light. We have a central channel that is strong, straight, and 2 weak left and right channels. In the space in front of us is Guru Buddha, the embodiment of all Buddhas, of all holy beings, in the appearance of our own Guru. We are seated on a lotus flower with a sun and a moon cushion. We have 5 chakras, 1 at the crown, and following down at the throat, heart, 5 fingers below the navel, and at the basis of our spine, at the basis of the central center, so-called sacred chakra. At each one of our chakras appears a lotus flower, symbolizing our channels that are perfectly aligned. We create the conditions to develop our qualities to their maximum potential for the benefit of all sentient beings. At the secret chakra appears a green lotus flower with 32 petals. At the navel, a yellow lotus flower with 64 petals. At the heart, a blue lotus flower with 8 petals. At the throat, a red lotus flower with 8 petals. And at the crown, a red lotus flower with 16 petals. And at the crown appears a white lotus flower with 32 petals. As we open the lotuses, the energy can flow naturally and spontaneously. Am lepe ma jango, am lepe ma jango, am lepe ma jango, pam lepe ma jango, pam lepe ma jango, pam lepe have generated the lotuses at our chakras, the next step is to generate the 6 syllables. So the 6 syllables, we need to understand its meaning by understanding its name, which is seed and syllable. Seed means something that holds within it a strong potential, something that is small, but holds within it a big potential. So when, for example, if we take there can be a big tree, let's imagine the tree of an apple. Then we imagine the seed of an apple. And if we ask, within the seed of an apple, within that small seed, is there the whole potential of a tree within it or not? Yes. So when we talk about seed, it means something small, but that has a big potential. Okay? And it holds within it the whole potential of whatever it may become. So, with that we have also like we use the same metaphor also when we talk about the karma. The actions that we do is a seed that we plant in our mental continuum. It has a strong potential. Sooner or later it will ripen into results. Okay? Similar to that, here when we talk about the seed syllable, means first of all, it's a seed, which means it's something that is small, but it holds a big potential within it. It's the first meaning. Second, how is this seed manifested? How does it exist? As a syllable. What is a syllable? It's not a letter. A letter is a symbol that we can use to put together more letters, more symbols, to represent a sound. Syllable is a sound. Okay? So, when we look in the sadhana, here, we have the 6 syllables, Om Ahon Tamri, written in Tibetan. Okay? And we can visualize the 6 syllables written in Tibetan, but actually, the letters in Tibetan that is written, the syllables, just that we have here, Om Ahon Tamre, written in our phonetics, basically it's just a symbol. It's like representing the true meaning. And the true meaning is a sound. It's not a letter. Okay? So this is important for us to understand. So, in all the practices of Vajrayana and the Tantra, the 6 syllable is something extremely important. All the time we say, visualize the hum in the heart, or the bam, or the tam, or whatever, depending on the practice that we are doing. What does it mean when we talk about the 6 syllable? How do we actually truly visualize it? Personally, my own understanding is that we visualize it as a point, a dot of light, because it's said that the 6 syllable should be seen in the size of a seed of mustard. A seed of mustard, well, we have no seeds of mustard here, but because sometimes we have. It is very small. It's like maybe 1.5 millimeter. Okay? Very small. So that's the size of a 6 syllable. Okay? And it has a color. So for example, at the crown it's white. Inside the lotus. Because remember, the lotus is not very big. Huh? It's the size of the central channel, the central part of the lotus. So let's say maybe like it has a diameter of maximum 2 centimeters maybe. And then inside of it there's this little point of light. Okay? This little point of light, which is the 6 syllable. It's the white light, a white dot of light. And it vibrates with the sound of Om. More than having on it written the letter Om, it actually vibrates with the sound of Om. On our throat, there is a little red dot of light. Powerful, but small. And it vibrates with the sound of Ah. at our heart, there's a small blue dot with the set of light that vibrates with the sound of hum. At our navel and our secret chakra, there are two systems. The first system, that is the one that we mostly do, is that we have a yellow dot of light that vibrates with the sound of tram. And at the secret chakra, on the lotus, there is a green dot of light that vibrates with the sound of Hri. The other system is always a yellow dot and a yellow sit syllable and a green sit syllable, but the yellow vibrates the sound of Swa, and the green is the sound of Ha. Okay, there are two systems within Tantra. For example, when we do the practice of Tarachtamani, it is the sound of Swa in the navel and the sound of Ha in the secret chakra. In the practice of Yamantaka, it's the sound of Tram and then the sound of Ri. In the practice of Guya Samaja, it's the sound of Swa and then the sound of Ha. So originally some people say, oh, the difference between Om Ahum Tramri or Om Ahum Soha is because one is Mother Tantra, the other one is Father Tantra. No. Because, for example, Tarachtamani is a practice of the Mother Tantra. And the sit syllable is Om Ahum Swaha. Guya Samaja is the Tantra per excellence of the Father Tantra, the practice per excellence of the Father Tantra. And the sit syllable is Om Ahum Swaha. So, this is just to say that we cannot base on the fact of being Father Tantra or Mother Tantra. Okay? The fact is that some practices give emphasis at the sit syllables as Om Ahum Tramri, and other practices as Om Ahum Swaha. Both of them are fine. Okay? The only point in self-healing is that if we use Om Ahum Swaha, then after we cannot recite Hrile Natso Dorje Jango Ri. We need to say Hale Natso Dorje Jango Ha. Okay? Because it says from the sit syllable appears the symbol. So we need to have the coherence of the same sit syllable. Okay? And because normally we are used to recite Hrile Natso Dorje Jango Ri, Tramle Norbo Serpo Tram. Otherwise we need to do Hale Natso Dorje Jango Ha, Swale Norbo Serpo Swa. And we are not used to that. So we keep one way. But actually both of the ways are possible. Okay? The important thing is to understand the way how we visualize and the meaning of the sit syllable. Then if we do Swa and Ha, or if we do Tram and Hri, both of them are fine. Okay? So the sit syllable, it's connected to a sound because sound is vibration. Vibration is energy. So it's a subtle energy that's the essence of the qualities that we need to develop. Okay? Like the essential aspect of our qualities. So, at the crown we have this dot of light that vibrates with the sound of Om. And we imagine this dot, it's very small, but it's very brilliant. It's very bright. And within itself, it's infinite in space. There is one concept that exists in physics, and in Buddhism practices, especially in Vajrayana, it's very useful to understand. I don't know how to say in English, but we call it the concept of the infinite, and in Portuguese we call infinitésimo. I don't know how to say in English. Anyhow, I'll tell you the meaning. If we look, for example, at my thumb, okay? Or we can look at our own nail, more easy. We look at our own nail. And then if we make the question, if we expand outwards, no? How much space is there outside? How much can we expand? Infinite, right? Now, I will use a word that doesn't exist, but it helps to understand the meaning. Okay? If we inspand, okay, we expand and we inspand, okay? Which means we start to divide and divide and divide, and we go more and more near inside the nail, and we go inside. How much can we go? Infinite. Which infinite is bigger, the one outside of the nail or the one inside the nail? Infinite is always equal to infinite. No one can be bigger than the other, okay? So it means as much space there is outside of my nail, there is also inside. This is physics. It's quite overwhelming, actually, if we really think about it. We have an idea of space that is so narrow-minded. The way how we perceive things, what is big, what is small, and our own way of seeing. If we just look at the universe and we see, what's the size of our planet? There is this famous picture when there was one of the main telescopes that was sent outside of Earth. And then when it was very, very, very far away, when it got to a point where it was losing sight of Earth, they made it look back and take one picture of Earth, when it was in the last moment. And Earth in that picture is nothing more than a little dot of light. Very small. Just to show how small we are in the universe. And we are still much, 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 much smaller. No? I remember one time one representation of just one black hole, and it was showing, one of the normal black holes that exist, and then inside the black hole there was a little dot of light, like showing the difference of the size, which was like the whole screen, and then there was a small thing there, and that small thing was our galaxy, compared to the size of one black hole. So this is just to say that space is completely relative. Okay? I like just to say one thing, I just take the opportunity, one reflection I had. According to Buddhist, how do you call that? The description of the universe and existence, no? It is said that existence is divided into 3 realms. We have the form realm, we have the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm. Okay? We are part of the desire realm. The desire realm is where we have the 6 senses, and then we can perceive gross form of materia, and there is pleasure and unpleasure, and we can perceive things through our senses. Okay? This is part of the desire realm. Then there is the form realm, which it has a very subtle type of form. In the form realm, there is no any more gross sensations of pleasure or unpleasure. There is just a very subtle form of material. And then there is the formless realm, where there is no material. And it is explained that if we take the whole existence and we divide into the 3 parts, the desire realm is the very, very, very smallest part of everything. Then there is form realm, but the most of the existence is part of the formless realm. So remember, if we look at this image of this black hole, there's a great part of the universe that is somehow formless realm, where there are no objects for the senses. But this doesn't mean that there is no existence, and this doesn't mean that there is no life. Now, according to Buddhism, it says that in the formless realm, if anyone who is reborn in the formless realm, they have very, 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 very long lives, but it's a state somehow being completely free. There is no pleasure, there is no suffering, it's just a state of nothingness somehow. One can stay there for very long. So there is no gross or subtle form. There is just a very, very subtle form, but which one cannot perceive or manifest. So this is just because we're talking about the relativity of space. And the reason why we talk about the relativity of space is because when we visualize the 6 syllables, we do not, in one way it's small, but in another way it's infinite. So we do not imagine it as something little like that, a small 6 syllable, there is nothing. It's like when we focus in each one of the 6 syllables, it's like we go inside of it, and it's a whole universe. It's infinite in space. Rinpoche used to say since so long time, as much space there is outside, there is inside. And in every aspect of ours. So, it's very interesting when we look from the physics point of view, isn't it? So, based on that, when we visualize our 6 syllables, we visualize these points of light in each one of our chakras that has this strong vibration, that every part of it, every little aspect of it vibrates with the sound. So we have the Om, the Ah, the Hum, the Tam, and the Ri, or the Swo and the Ha. Okay? There is one explanation when we talk about the colors of the 6 syllables. There is, inside Tantra itself, we have some old texts which are talking like about questions about Vajrayana and so on. And one of the questions is like, how come energy has color? Because you cannot see it. So is it color something that can only be perceived with our eyes? Does it have any color or not? Actually, if we look from another perspective, colors have different type of frequencies, generally speaking. If we learn how to read the more different frequencies, naturally there will be colors representing them, no? When we represent the different frequencies. And actually, each color is like if it has some sort of a different energy, it has a different frequency also. And when we talk about the colors of our chakras, basically, we are talking about the fundamental aspects of ourselves, because the colors that we use are the fundamental colors. Okay, there is white, which is the basis of all. You know, some people would say white is the absence of color, but white is the basis for all the other colors together, which is space element, which is our crown chakra, which is connected to space. Space element is blue, actually. And then we have white, red, yellow, blue, yellow, and green. Okay? So with this we have all the fundamental colors. And I don't have enough knowledge about the colors, but I'm sure that each color, it has a specific type of vibration, it has a specific type of energy also. Okay? So there is a connection with that for sure. And one interesting thing is that many of the knowledges that we have within the practice of self-healing, which is coming from the teachings of Buddha and so on, and which were transmitted from centuries to centuries by many great meditators and practitioners, is not knowledge that has been developed and taught from an intellectual, conceptual point of view, but from an experimental point of view, people that experienced it and understood it in a non-conceptual way. And it's perfectly coherent with the conceptual understanding. But something that we understand in a non-conceptual way, it takes much, much longer time to explain conceptually. If we take a deep experience and we try to put it into words, look how many poems and how many things were written trying to explain the feeling of love. When we try to put into words what we feel and what is our feeling and what is our deeper experiences, so difficult. And it may take much, 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 much longer time. Somehow, whatever reason, we live in a moment in which in our culture it's more important the understanding conceptually than the actual experience. And we have somehow the idea that what we are not able, which doesn't mean it cannot be explained, but we have somehow the idea that what we are not able to understand conceptually, it's wrong. It's quite arrogant, actually. Or it doesn't exist, or something like that. But basically, there are so many things that we cannot understand conceptually. Most of it, actually. But this doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, or this doesn't mean that it's wrong. No? There are things that we can experience, that we can feel, but we cannot necessarily understand it conceptually, why and how and so on. No? Yesterday in the evening, actually, I was thinking about these two experiences that I shared yesterday of relativity of time. And if I was trying to say, what would be the conventional way of explaining this? What happened to my brain? What happened, basically? Because, sure, time is relative, but if there are sorts of some inside the brain, something of the speed, how we perceive reality or what, I don't know. Because I had the experience, and I trust my own experiences. It was not an hallucination. So what would be the conventional explanation for it? I have no idea. But something must be there. This just to say that normally we give a lot of importance, but but the practices that we have in Buddhism, they come from people that mostly sure had good understanding. When we look at the dialectics, when we look at the philosophy in Buddhist teachings and so on, it's so precise. The whole part of conceptual understanding is so precise, it's incredible. I think very often much more precise than many things that I have ever seen in our Western culture also. Everything with its own definitions and understanding and classifications and explanations of why. When we have all the texts of philosophy, even in the explanations of Tantra, every subject is divided into 3 parts. Shenlu Gakpa, Ranlu Shakpa, Tela Tsupa Ponga. Which means showing the wrong views and, opposing them. The first thing about whatever subject is going to be talked, first thing that is in the text is showing the view of other people that what the writer sees as wrong. And then we will explain why the other views are wrong, one by one, on that same subject. Then he will have the second point, which is Rano Shakpa. He will present his own point of view. And then he will make hypothetical questions about it and doubts that could raise about and give answers to it. This is the way how it's done. Okay? And it's like, normally when I would like reading texts of Lama Tsongkhapa, sometimes it even gets a bit boring in the sense like, I trust Lama Tsongkhapa, let's go directly to what you think about it. You know? Because he have like maybe half a page presenting his own view, and then there is like 10 pages in the beginning opposing other views, and then there are 5 pages in the end making hypothetical questions that people could have and doubts and answering doubts. And it's all precisely. This is just to say that the conceptual understanding is very strong. It's not something that is not given value or importance to it. But there is a whole part that all the conceptual understanding is never as important as the non-conceptual realization. It's actually, the conceptual understanding is there just as a support for having a deeper level of understanding and experience. Okay? So what happened is that what we value normally in our lineage and in our history were not people that had good understanding or that were great scholars. What we value were people that had great realization, that can and could experience in a non-conceptual way all the different concepts. This is to say that when we talk about the 5 chakras, when we talk about the lotus, when we talk about the 6 syllables and the colors of the 6 syllables and the sound and so on, all this is a shared experience. It's based on starting with Buddha Shakyamuni and many, many great masters, that enlightened beings that came after him, that had this experience and shared them with us. So, what we do is that we follow that example. Is it possible to have a more conceptual understanding? Sure. And I try to explain in the best way as I can conceptually, because I know that our Western mind likes and needs it. Okay? But it's not coming from that process. From that process. Okay? It's just important for us to have this understanding of it. Okay? So as we visualize the 6 syllables at our own 5 chakras, it's very important, once again, for us always to question ourselves. What's the meaning of the symbol, of the symbology? Otherwise, there is the danger that as we go along within the decades and the centuries, we lose the meaning and we only hold the symbol. But every symbol is a representation. In Tibetan, we say petun. Petun means example and meaning. Whenever there is a metaphor, it's there to represent something else. And we should always ask, what is the metaphor and what is the meaning behind? Like one example of not making the distinction between metaphor and meaning. In many teachings it's said, our reality is just like an illusion. No? And then people think reality is an illusion. Nothing exists. Everything is just made up in our mind. No, that's the metaphor. So what's the meaning? That reality appears differently than what actually it is. But it does exist. So this is one example when sometimes we take out the meaning and we just keep the metaphor. Or reality is just like a dream. It's not a dream. It's like a dream. So it's a metaphor. But sometimes it becomes reality is a dream. It's not like that. So whenever we have symbols, whenever we have metaphors, we should always ask, what's the meaning behind it? And in Buddhism, especially in the practices of Vajrayana, we are full of metaphors and symbols. Because through the symbol, we can say much more than through the words. An image is able to say and to represent much, much more than words. Nowadays, we like very much words because we have very much this conceptual way of understanding. But actually, words is the most limited way of communicating. That's what I believe. Even though my life is around words most of the times, but where do we understand more? By having an experience or by having an explanation? When we have an experience, it's much more rich. Maybe we have one experience and then it takes us 5 years to truly understand it. Okay? It's so rich. An explanation is just a few words that we put together and try to generate one concept that not necessarily is right or complete. Okay? So generally speaking, even in relation with other people, with our daily life, if we want to teach something to someone, it's much more powerful to induce the person to an experience that shows what we want to teach the person than actually giving a good explanation. Okay? Sure, it's more difficult. How do I do that? It's more difficult. But another way how we can also do, and I try to do this as much as I can during explanations, is to give explanations with metaphors. The metaphors, the symbols, is a way in between the experience and the explanation. Because we have had in our own life many experiences. So when we connect with the metaphor connects ourselves with our experiences, so we can have a better understanding about what we are talking about. Okay? So, the whole practice is connected with metaphors, even light and darkness. Why is it light and darkness a metaphor of wisdom and ignorance? Very simple. Ignorance, the meaning of ignorance is not knowing. When there is darkness, we cannot see. And literally means not to see, not seeing. Vid in Sanskrit means to see. A means no. Avidya is the word for ignorance, means not seeing. So basically, the word for ignorance is not seeing, not able to perceive. When can we see? When there is light or when there is darkness? When there is light. So not seen is represented by darkness, and seeing is represented by light. This doesn't mean the darkness is bad. It's just a metaphor for us to understand better the meaning and to connect to that. Okay? So it's like, I just want to say this because I could explain, okay, we have the 5 6 syllables, just visualize the Tibetan Om in the crown, a red Tibetan A at the throat, the Tibetan letter Hung at the heart, and so on. We are just talking about the symbol. What does it mean? What does it represent? And in the Tibetan Buddhism, in Buddhism in general, but there is a very strong precision with words. Words are used in a very careful way. For example, if we never say, when you see the glass, you say, when you see the form of the glass. That's one example. So we need to be careful with the words that are there. Sid syllable. It's not just a name. There's a meaning there. You have two metaphors put together. A sid and a syllable. A seed, which means something that holds within it a big potential, even though it is small. And a syllable, which means vibration, sound, vibration, energy. So it's a very essential energy that holds within a very strong potential. That's what we call the syllable. It also represents our own inner potential. Like we all have wisdom, we all have love, we all have compassion, we all have generosity, stability, but sometimes it's just the seed. We need to make it grow. Okay? Being more precise, what are the 5 syllables? They are the potential, the essence of the potential of our 5 wisdoms. Okay? They represent originally the 5 wisdoms that we can develop. So, at the crown, the white syllable is representing what is called the mirror-like wisdom. At the throat, we have the discriminating wisdom, or the discriminating wisdom. Then at the heart, we have the Dharma Dhatu wisdom, or the wisdom of absolute space. Then we have at the navel the wisdom of equanimity. And at the secret chakra, the green one, is the all-realizing wisdom. Okay? These 5 wisdoms is something that we do have right now. It's not something that one day we will develop. We have right now. But now they're just like a seed that needs to grow and develop. It's a potential that we have, that we use not in the best way, actually. Okay? It's not fully developed at all. So let's try to understand these 5 wisdoms. Because if we ask, what are the 5 syllables? Okay, we visualize them as a dot of light that vibrates with the sound. What does it represent? It represents our potential of enlightenment. In which way? Each one of them represents one different aspect of our potential to enlightenment, which develops, makes the enlightened mind, but which we have right now. That's why it's a seed that we have within us. It's not something that we ask Guru Buddha, please give me the seed and plant your seed inside my mind. It's not like that. The seed is coming from within us. We already have it with us. That's showing our own potential, not something that we are asking to have received from outside. Okay? So let's understand what is this potential. So what it represents, these 5 syllables also. Let's start with the secret chakra. Okay? So at the secret chakra, we have the all-realizing wisdom. The all-realizing wisdom is basically the ability that we have right now of choosing what to do and what not to do. It's the aspect of our mind that says, I want this, I don't want that. Since the moment we wake up until the moment we wake up again the next morning, even when we are sleeping. Do we always have a direction that we give to our actions and our mind? We say, I want this, I don't want that. I believe yes. Even when we are sleeping, we are not aware. But in our dreams, there is always action and what we do, what we don't do, and this and that. There are moments in which we are not aware, but this doesn't mean that it's not functioning. And when we wake up, we already have what I do. I stand up, I stay in bed. I have hunger, I like to eat, I like to go to the toilet, I don't know, whatever. We always have something. So the all-realizing wisdom, at the very present moment, we could call it the little realizing wisdom, because it's full of doubts, okay? Because we don't have the certainty of what is the best for ourselves and what is the best for others. So, I do, I don't do. I go, I don't go. What I do, I don't know. This is basically because we don't have this quality fully developed. But still, we make choices, what to do, what not to do, where to go, where not to go. Even when we choose not to do anything, it's a choice. It's an action. Okay? So this aspect of our mind that directs ourselves and makes choices, what to do or not to do, is called the all-realizing wisdom of the basis that we have now. Normally, there are different ways of naming things. The one that we call here, we call Dreming Gyula Takpa in Tibetan, it's called. Dreming Gyula Takpa. Dre means result. Ming is name. Dreming, the name of the result. Gyu is cause. La is to. Takpa is to give. So we give the name of the result to the cause. It's like if you are studying medicine and I call you doctor. You are not yet a doctor, but because you will become a doctor, I call you doctor since this moment. Okay? It's like I meet a friend and I say, hello, my dear Buddha. You are not yet a Buddha, but you will become a Buddha. Okay? So I give the name of the results to the cause. And then there is also the opposite. Sometimes we give the name of the cause to the result. Okay? There are different ways of naming things. In this case, we give the name of the result to the cause. So in this moment, we don't have an all-realizing wisdom. But because it's the cause for that wisdom that we have right now, we call it the all-realizing wisdom. For us to understand the relation between the result that we will reach and the cause that we have right now, to make the connection between the two. The reason why we give the name of the result to the cause is to understand that we have right now the cause for that result, to make that connection. I don't know if it's clear. Otherwise, we look at the qualities of a Buddha and we say, what do I have to do with that? Nothing. We do have now the all-realizing wisdom of the cause, which is of the basis, it's called, that still needs to be developed. It's like a seed that needs to grow. We have the ability to choose what we want to do, but we still need to develop it more. By eliminating every doubt, by having more experiences, gradually we are able to have more stability, more certainty, and in every action and choice that we make. Okay? So the state of a Buddha that have the completely fully realized, all-realizing wisdom, it means a Buddha have certainty in every action of body, speech, and mind. Have always the certainty that is the best for oneself and others. The second wisdom connected to our navel chakra, which is represented by the 6-syllable tram, the potential, is called the wisdom of equanimity. The The wisdom of equanimity of the basis, Nyam Nyeshe, the first one which we just said before, the all-realizing wisdom in Tibetan is called Chadrup Yeshe. Now this one is called Nyam Nyeshe, is the wisdom of equanimity, or the equal wisdom. The wisdom of equanimity of the basis, the one we have right now, cause, is our ability to perceive the similarities of things. It's like I look to all of you, and even though you are different in many ways, I know that you are all human beings. So I find the similarities and I put in the same group. Okay. I look at the offering bowls, and I know that they are like slightly different, but I see that they are all offering bowls. Okay. Then I can divide into two groups, man and woman. Each woman is different, each man is different, but they are all men, they are all women. We can make many, many differences like this. Okay? But it's a very important characteristic of our mind to be able to see the similarities and put it together into groups. Imagine what would happen if we were not able to do that. Quite chaotic, huh? So, the fully realized wisdom of equanimity is the wisdom that is able to see on every phenomena, everything they have in common. Like looking at every sentient being and not making difference between of them in the moment because they all suffer, they all want to be happy. It's looking at every phenomena and understanding they are all interdependent. So it's really able to see every similarity that is between every phenomenon, which now we are not able. That's why we make distinction. I like this, I don't like that, you were good, you were bad, and we make a lot of distinction, and very often we forget about the similarities and the aspects that are equal. Okay? Then this is in the navel chakra. Now we jump to the throat chakra, because it's easier to understand. And we go at the throat chakra, the red seed syllable A represents our potential, the seed of the Sosor Tokpe Yeshe. Sosor means each one. Tokpa means to understand, to realize. So it's like to realize each one, to understand each one. It's also called the wisdom of discrimination, of the wisdom of discernment. Okay? Or the discriminating awareness is also called. Basically, what is? It's the opposite of the equanimity. It's the ability to distinguish two things, one from each other. Like I look at all of you, I can see you are all human beings, at least I think so. And I believe in my perception, so you are all human beings. And then, but I can see, even though you are all equal as human beings, I can see the difference between each one. None of you are exactly the same as the other. And I can look and I can see the difference between each and every one. This is the discriminating awareness. This is the Sosor Tokpeyeshe, the wisdom of discriminating, the wisdom of discernment, the wisdom that perceives each one. Okay? So, it is very important because at the other moment, like very often we are not able to perceive the differences between things. This is the lack of the wisdom of discriminating. Other moments, we just make differences and we are not able to see the similarities. We need to have both together. At the same time that we recognize the similarities, we are able to see each one as an individual. This remembers me, I have one friend, and he had many brothers and sisters. I think there were 14 altogether. And he was saying that his father had a very special quality that was the ability to treat all the kids in an equal way, but recognizing and accepting the differences between each other. So what he would do is that he would dedicate one day a week, making turns, to dedicate some special time only for that kid. So accepting that each one he will dedicate more or less the same time for all of them, but in a specific way for what each one of them needed. Someone liked music, the other one liked whatever art, or whatever like reading or whatever. Other one liked playing football, it doesn't matter. He will be together with each one according to their mentality, to their needs, to their way, and their character. So finally what happened is that this friend told me that he always had the sensation of the father as being very equal to all children, because he will do different things with different children according to their needs. This is the true equanimity in another way. Equanimity in action doesn't mean to do exactly the same thing to everyone. It means to act to each one in accordance to their needs. So to have this type of equanimity, you need also the ability to discern the needs of everyone. So the wisdom, these two wisdoms developed together, is the ability to put everyone in the same level, treat everyone in the same way, and see every phenomena in the same way, because there are many, 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 many aspects which put everything together in the same level. But at the same time, be able to discern each and every one separately, which means not to see all as one, but to see the similarities that are within them, and at the same time to see the differences. Okay? It's like looking at a beautiful bouquet of flowers and seeing, yes, they're all flowers, but each one of them is different, and being able to see the specific qualities and characteristics of each flower. Looking to one flower and being able to see, okay, that's all petals of the same flower, but then going and seeing the difference between each and every one of them. Okay? This is another aspect. We have this ability, but it needs to be more developed. Okay? So a Buddha has these two abilities fully realized. The ability to see the differences of each and every one, but at the same time the ability to see the similarities and put everything together. Okay? So it's the wisdom of equanimity and the wisdom of discernment or discrimination. I think in the moment that we develop these wisdoms, they all go together in balance. Now we already use them together. They are different aspects of our mind, but that they are different aspects, but they always work together. Because depending on how much equanimity I have, it's also connected to the way how I discern and I see everything. And this is connected to the choices that I make for my action. Everything is connected. No? So we go now to the fourth wisdom, which we go to the crown chakra, which is the wide six-syllable Om that is representing our potential of the mirror-like wisdom. The mirror-like wisdom, we're going to go, is a metaphor, mirror. Okay? So when we look to a mirror, how many things can a mirror reflect at the same time? One or many? Many, right? Similar, and if the more the mirror is clean, the more it can reflect, right? And the better it can reflect. Similar to that, our mind is able to perceive many phenomena at the same time. Like when I look at all of you, can I see all of you together? Yes. So, and when I look to one person, I can see different parts of the person at the same time. I can see a different phenomena together. Okay? There is a big discussion in some of the philosophical texts, which is called Pramana, which is like the part of logic and so on, asking if when we see many things together, what are we perceiving? A union of many things, like each one of many things put together, or we are perceiving one thing that is the union of many together? Like when we look to a painting, what do we see? A union of many colors, or we see many colors? Okay? Okay, we can go on and on discussing about this. The fact is that we are able to see and receive information of many phenomena at the same time. The mirror-like wisdom is our ability to be aware of this phenomenon or not. Okay? At this very right moment, there is sound. How many sounds are arriving at our ear? There is me talking. We have the sound of the soundbox behind. We have some little birds singing outside. The sound of baby. Many sounds. Our own breath. Okay? If we start to observe clearly, we can see so many sounds are happening there. Are we fully aware of all the sounds? No, in one way, luckily not. Otherwise, how can we focus on one thing? Okay? I have one of our friends from the Sangha in Brazil. She had been deaf for a very long time, since she was very young. And some years ago, she did one surgery that to put one thing inside that helps for listening. No? And she doesn't like it, actually. Because it's very disturbing to start listening to so many things. And then to start, because she doesn't have yet the ability developed to distinguish between the sounds and say, this I want to listen, this I don't want to listen. So everything that happens, the mind just follows it right away. So most of the time, she just turns it off. And it takes a long time to accept it and slowly, slowly to understand it. Because we don't have very often the ability to be able to receive and make the distinction, what I want to be aware, what I don't want to be aware, what I want to give my focus or not. Okay? So basically, the mirror-like wisdom is our ability of being aware or not of the phenomena that appear to our mind, the present moment. It is said, once I was looking at a documentary based on scientific research, and it was saying that every second we receive through our senses and so on, the brain receives around 2 billion information every second. Okay? From this 2 billion information, on average, we are aware of 2,000. Just for an example, if we stop and we truly concentrate well, can we have the inner feeling of touch of the heart beating? Is it possible to feel one's own heart beating? Possible. Is it easy? No. But it's possible, right? At this very right moment, can we feel our heart beating? I cannot. I don't know for you, but I think not. The fact that I cannot feel my heart beating, does that mean that the heart is not beating? No. Does that mean that the impulse and the message of the feeling of the touch of the heart beating is not being sent? No. It just means I have no space. My mirror is dirty, and I don't have that much space, and I'm only able to be aware of few things at a time. And because I am aware of certain forms of things, I'm not able to be aware of others. Okay? So the mirror-like wisdom is our ability to perceive and to be aware of more things at the same time. The more our mirror is clean, the more things we can perceive at the same time. No? Like this makes me remember, there was a great doctor that I met a few times in Nepal. His name was called Manu Vajra. And he had, one of the great things of him is what, he was very, very humble, very good Ayurvedic doctor. And when anybody would come to see him, he would his studio was in a very small place. Even though he was very famous, he became the doctor of the king, and he became very famous. He healed many people. He never wanted to change his studio. He always stayed in a very, very basic place. And the studio basic was one room, where on one side of the room there was the benches for people to wait. Then there was on the other side of the room, not big room, one chair where he would sit, another 2 chairs for patients, one little bed with a curtain. That's all. So when he would talk to the patient, everybody else was always listening to everything. And it happened 2 times that I went there to him that I saw this, that someone was accompanying the patient, And then he would look at the patients and everything. And then he would look to the person accompanying and said, and you, do you need anything? And the person said, no, I'm just here to accompany. Then he would say, don't you feel pain in that place? Do you have this problem, that problem? And he would say precisely what the person had. And what he was doing actually, he was always observing everything. When a person would enter the room, he was observing the way how the person walks, the face, the tongue, the eyes, the voice. He was observing everything. Most probably he could feel the energy, everything, and from that he had his diagnosis already done, basically. So this was, even though he was looking at one patient, he had the awareness of the other people coming in the room and understanding all the rest that was there. Okay, this is one example of being more aware. We can be aware of people, for example, looking at people and being aware of their presence. They are there, they exist. We can be aware of their feelings. We can be aware of their expressions. We can be aware of so many things, actually. So a Buddha has developed the mirror-like wisdom to the maximum potential, which means a Buddha is fully aware of all phenomena that appear to him at every instant. That's the all-knowing mind. That's omniscience. There are 5 aspects of omniscience. This is one of them. Okay? So, it's to be able to perceive and understand everything that arrives to the mind at every moment. In other ways would be to say, if we use another term, being aware of the 2 billion information that we receive at every second, not 2,000. Okay? It's a bit mind-blowing, the idea. Okay? So this is, but at least we can imagine what is a Buddha. Okay? So a Buddha has no doubts on every action, has certainty in every action, of body, speech, and mind, is able to perceive in an equal way all phenomena, to distinguish the differences between each and every phenomena, and at the same time is able to be aware of everything that appears to him at all times. Now we go to the 5th wisdom. Yeah? I don't remember them. The other 4 aspects of omniscience, I don't remember. I think one of the other aspects of omniscience, which is much more difficult to understand, is to have full awareness of past, present, and future. Which I really don't understand what that means, because I have a linear idea of time. In my mind, it doesn't matter how much I try to think, time appears in a linear way. Okay? Where present is nothing more than the result of the past. Past are the causes that already had results. Future are the causes that did not yet have results. Okay? But if I'm able to perceive the 3 times at the same time, it means they are all one. And what does that mean? I don't know. Okay? I think it goes much beyond my own way of understanding. But Tusum Kempa, we say in Tibetan, which is the knower of the 3 times. And if we go into more deeper levels of observations, and we have to go to look at that the time is relative, the relativity of time. Like, even when we go, there are some aspects that when we talk about the true relativity of time, we enter into a complete different paradigm in which we normally live. That's why it's so difficult to understand. A Buddha lives in a complete different paradigm. No? There is one movie which is nice in many aspects, but which talk about quantum physics, basically, called Interstellar. And there is one part of the movie, which is more to the end than is connected to the beginning anyhow, in which it's talking about the relativity of time in relation to gravity. And it's something that which says where there is the absence of gravity, there is the absence of time. And it's so difficult for our minds to understand it, truly. Because it's a complete different paradigm in which the past, like time is seen as a linear line, But this line can be bent by gravity, and where there is the absence of gravity, it's like if the line touches each other, or it becomes one own point. So there is no more past, there is no more future, there is no more present, it's all one. What does that mean? I don't know. Because it's completely beyond our paradigm. And when we talk about one of the other omniscience, is the omniscience of past, present, and future in one. And I don't know really what it means. Okay? And I don't remember the others, actually. So, let's go to the fifth wisdom. So up until now we saw four wisdoms, which is the all-realizing wisdom, the wisdom of equanimity, the wisdom of discrimination, and the mirror-like wisdom. Okay? The fifth wisdom is not an aspect of the mind. That's why I prefer to explain it separately. It's not like a function of the mind. The fifth wisdom is the mind itself, with defilements or without defilements. It's called the Dharma Dhatu wisdom. Dharma means phenomenon. Dhatu means absolute space. Okay? Dhatu is like a deeper form of space. Let's say we can translate it as space. But it's also translated as nature. So it's the nature of phenomenon. But in the description that is given is that the Dharma Dhatu wisdom of the basis is the mind with all the mental defilements, with ignorance, attachment, desire, hatred, and so on. And the Dharma Dhatu wisdom of the result is the mind free of all the mental defilements. Okay? The mind is always there. First now is the mind with all the dirt, and then there is the mind without the dirt. It's like if we take a mirror and then we put the mirror, we can make it very dirty. And then after we clean it, but the mirror is always the mirror. It did not change with that. That's why we say that the Dharma Dhatu wisdom is the aspect of our mind which is actually pure, which we could say is based on the nature of our mind of being interdependent, of being free of inherent existence, which means the defilements such as ignorance, attachment, desire, hatred, and so on, they are just as momentary obstructions. They are not part of the nature of the mind. So the Dharma Dhatu wisdom at the moment of the basis is the mind with the defilements. It's like the sky. Okay? Imagine the mind being like the sky. Now is the sky full of clouds. Then the sky is free from clouds. But the sky has always been the sky, with clouds or without clouds. It's like our mind now is like the sky with many clouds and some storms. And when we reach Buddhahood, it's the same sky without clouds. Okay? So this is called the Dharma Dhatu wisdom. So, based on this, there are two very important aspects of the five wisdoms. One is that it's showing the connection that is there between a Buddha and ourselves, which is the main, the 5 syllables, they represent what? Our potential to enlightenment. And they represent the 5 wisdoms of the basis that we have now. Okay? The other very important aspect of the 5 wisdoms is that by observing and understanding the 5 wisdoms of the basis, we can have a much more clear idea of what a Buddha is. We can start imagining what is a Buddha. It's so beautiful, actually. Because now that can we at least imagine how would be someone, even ourselves. Try to imagine ourselves with no mental defilements, no anger, no jealousy, no pride, no fear, no sadness, and so on. So Dharma Dhatu wisdom. Certainty in every action. Just try to imagine. No defilement. Certainty in every action. Knowing that is the best for oneself and others. total ability to perceive the equal aspects of all phenomena. So no more attraction to one, aversion to another, seeing all phenomena in the same way. Seeing all the similarities between every phenomenon. But at the same time, the ability to relate to each and every phenomena within its specific characteristics. Seeing everyone as a part of a whole, but seeing everyone as an individual. Every phenomenon. It's like looking at a flower, seeing the beautiful flower, and at the same time seeing the difference between every petal. Being able of having full awareness of every phenomenon that appears to our mind. In a non-conceptual way, to be more precise. In a direct experience. That's a Buddha. Okay. So, within the practice of self-healing, what we will do is that we start developing the seed syllables, which represent, is like these dots of light that vibrate with the sound, that represents our own potential of enlightenment, which represents each one of the 5 wisdoms. Okay? So we have mirror-like wisdom at the crown, discriminating wisdom at the throat, we have the Dharmadhatu wisdom at the heart, the wisdom of equanimity at the navel, and the all-realizing wisdom at the sacral chakra. They are like a seed, our own potential that we do have right now. And we need to grow these potentials to its maximum capacity. Okay? So this is what is representing as we follow up with the practice. Okay? So, how do we make this visualization? We visualize the seed syllables at our chakras. Okay? As we said before, is a dot of light that is infinite in space within itself. And it glows with the color and the light of white and red and blue and yellow and green. And it vibrates. It sends waves with the sound. Okay? It's like it's constantly emanating that vibration. Then, at each one of them, what happens is that it emanates light to all directions. This light that emanates from each one of them, like white light from the crown, it goes to all directions. And as it goes to all the directions, it touches the heart of every Buddha and makes an offering. By touching every Buddha, it makes that Buddha, that holy being, that highly realized being, to experience a sensation of bliss and emptiness, of great joy. And then back from the heart of every Buddha, it bounces back and comes back and reabsorbs into the 6 syllables. Then, once again, or at the same time, it depends how we visualize, it emanates, as it goes to 10 directions, it goes also to all sentient beings. And as it touches the heart of every sentient being, it pacifies their suffering. It arrives to every sentient being as love, as wisdom. And it pacifies the anger, the jealousy, the envy, and the suffering of every sentient being, the ignorance. And it guides and it influences every sentient being on the path to enlightenment. So every sentient being reaches a state of great bliss, of joy, of peace. And then the lights come back and reabsorb back once again at our own syllable. Okay? So we do this 5 times at each one of our chakras. White, red, blue, yellow, and green. And in the moment that the light expands and when it reabsorbs, by reabsorbing back from all Buddhas and all sentient beings, when it reabsorbs back, by this condition, our potential of enlightenment develops and grows. And then the 6th syllable transforms into the symbol. Okay? Basically, it's by accumulating merits of giving to sentient beings and offering to holy beings, and by receiving the blessings once again together, this condition make our seed to grow and develop its qualities, develop more its potential. So the moment of the sit syllable, we concentrate on the sit syllable, on its potential developing, as it emanates lights to all holy beings and all sentient beings, which we call in Tibetan Tönyiche. Like in all the sadhanas, we have normally this visualization, which is from the sit syllable, light emanates, going to all Buddhas, making offerings, going to all sentient beings, eliminating their suffering. And by this condition, the sit syllable transforms into the symbol, which means by the condition of accumulating merits, of receiving the blessings, by the power of love and compassion, which is when we emanate to all sentient beings. And what happens is that our inner qualities develop and grow. This is what is represented. Okay? Tönyiche surdu, which says, it realized the two objectives. The two objectives is the two meanings, or the two objectives is to make offerings to all holy beings and to help all sentient beings. This means the two objectives. So basically, at each one of our chakras, from each one of our 5 sit syllables, or from each one of the sit syllables at our chakra, light emanates, realizing the two objectives, making offerings to holy beings, helping sentient beings, reabsorbing back. By the condition of reabsorbing back, the sit syllable develops and transforms into the symbol. Okay? So this is basically the visualization we do. We can stay a long time visualizing the symbol, okay, the syllable. So what we will do now, we will do the visualization and the practice of the sit syllables, and then we will just finish the rest of self-healing just reciting in a more quick way. Okay? We concentrate on our breath. And as I will ring the bell, we go back to the state of visualization that we were when we finished the generation of the lotuses. At our crown chakra, inside the central channel, on the white lotus with 32 petals, appears a white sit syllable Om. At the throat, within the central channel, on top of the 16-petaled red lotus, appears the sit syllable Ah. At the heart, within the central channel, on top of the 8-petaled blue lotus, appears the sit syllable Hum. At the navel, within our central channel, on top of a 64-petaled yellow lotus, appears the yellow sit syllable Tram. And at the secret chakra, within the central channel, on top of a green lotus with 32 petals, appears the green sit syllable T. From each one of the syllables, light emanates, going to the 10 directions, making offerings to all Buddhas, helping every sentient being out of suffering, and reabsorbing back into ourselves. The 6 syllables are the essence of our qualities, are our own potentials in life. Om Ahong Kamri. 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 Now we concentrate at each one of our chakras as we recite in silence the 6 syllables. Oma 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 Oma. Oma 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 Oma. Oma 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 Drum, 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 drum. Tram 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 Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Ile NgalSo dorje changori, tamle norbo serpo chang, honle dorje ngombo hong, ale pema marpo a, omle korlo karpo om korlo nanse dorje, a pema che dorje, hon dorje mikyo dorje, Tram norbo rinchon dorche, Ri NgalSo dorche tenyon dorche, Lama tenyon dorche, Oma moga sidi hon, Lama rinchon dorche ken, Om aratna sambhava hon, Lama mikyo dorche ken, Om a akshobhya hon, Lama che dorche kem, Om a amitabha hon, Lama nanse dorche kem, Om a veiro chana hon, Om mani peme 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 hon, Om mahasukha hon, Om mahasukha hon, Om mahasukha hon, Om mahasukha, Om sukha hon, Om Vishwa Shanti 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 hon. Lama kuncho somla kyalso chi rani lase dotri songne cho donga choso nyercho kundu jishin roden chi dorna ditsu namkara gewe so chinye sapa te nyurtu da norbo panzo shamba larkene lame lamge rimba tarchin Jetson lame kotse rabdenchi, namkar tinle chochur gepadam, losan tembe drume sasomgi, drove muse tatu negjur, nimo dele tsendele, nime kunyan dele. Concho sumge jingelo, concho sumge ngodroso, concho sumge shisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessing. May they help us to achieve all realization and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspicious. So as we go to eat now, we remember our right hand represents method, the left hand represents wisdom as we eat. Remember Guru Buddha at our heart, or the 5 Dhyani Buddhas at our 5 chakras. And then as we eat, the wind enters through our central channel. It makes the fire to grow, the digestive fire to grow. The heat of the fire comes up to the crown, to the heart, where is the earth, that heats the earth, that heats the water. And this all makes the digestive system to work, dividing the food from the pure and the impure part. From the pure part, we offer it to all our holy beings, especially to Guru Buddha at our heart, and to all the Buddhas. The remaining part we offer to all the beings living in our body, so all the bacteria and microorganisms that live in our body. By that, may our body be with strength and healthy, and with pleasure. May our speech be strong. May our mind be clear. May our body and mind function in accordance to our wishes. And by the merits of having offered to all these beings living in our body, may in the future we be able to guide them on the path to enlightenment. And by that, by all the merits here accumulated for offering to all holy beings and offering to all sentient beings, may we reach enlightenment for the benefit of all. Oma huntem ba lame sangye rinpoche, kyo ba lame tamcho rinpoche, rinpa lame gendu rinpoche, kya me kuncho somla che pa, locho sambo pagyo drashi pa, tuche tempe tinle yarngo. Pege drolo tambe zebrache, panden lame shela chopa bu, kanshi dremba samge chinange, parche kunsele shi chinle nam, totse gyache shugden ringase, tensum kordan chela chopa bu, kenam chöchin sowa tabetu, dafso kandu neber sacho ter, neda ubon tabso shiwada, chodan trashi pelwar zedu. By the merits of making offerings and requests, may in the place wherever we may be it be completely free from sickness, poverty, and conflict, and may there be always joy, auspiciousness, and everything that is